yourself? You saw the movie. Did you see that? That was awesome. He was awesome. What did you guys think? You guys, did you enjoy it?
Yes.
You need to put on the big screen.
We did. At the beginning, the premiere, we had it on the big screen, and that was great. Oh, it was a great time. Yeah, the premiere. It was great.
Are we on? Douche. No, I didn't see. Who was I? Hey, Pete.
What's up?
What you think, buddy?
Hey, Jim, you here somewhere? Jim?
He's outside. He's vaping. Don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's somebody's birthday.
It's Billy's birthday.
Here's the thing, there's a huge, gigantic cake right here. I know that we can't eat it all. Does anybody want cake?
Fucking line up. Okay, count of three. Everyone starts singing. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Billy. Happy birthday to you.
How sweet.
Thank you.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby.
You should have won. I need some plates. Hey, Eric.
Yeah, I liked Raiden though. Raiden was good. But he didn't see the movie. He didn't see the movie, so you should be first.
Billy's birthday. Hi, Jim. Come on up.
You'll have to hold up.
We're getting wrong place. You could cut pieces out. He did tune in like you're a mama bird. Did you just fork feed Asian and kill?
Yeah, well, of course, but I know I can't eat that much, you know, but, yeah, well, they're a power eat that boy, right.
Let's just start the Q&A. Let's start. Let's start. It's gonna take forever.
So, what y'all think?
Could you believe that was shot in 3 weeks?
I know what you're gonna say.
It's more like 6 weeks when you pick up, you do the reshoots and the pickup shots.
Hold on. And also, it was 12-hour fucking days. Straight through.
Principal filming took 3 weeks. So,
The majority of that was 3 weeks.
right.
Like 80% of it was 3 weeks, but then like all the pickup shots, like I can't even film
Yeah, Billy worked his ass off on it.
This
endlessly, endlessly worked his ass off. Before we get to the Q&A real quick, I wanted to say thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I know after the con you guys are starving, because I know I'm fucking hungry. Thank God there's a cake. Fuck his birthday, I want the cake. But yeah, it means a lot, especially when we see like our colleagues and our friends and people that are longtime supporters and stuff. Beyond, that makes everything worth it on my end. So, and just having these guys ask, you know, me, Chief, and Jim, and everybody to be a part of it. Thanks. So that's my thank you. Oh, thanks to Jay for having Retropalooza.
I mean, thank y'all for coming. It gets a pay rent next month. I'll just go home
Yeah,
and
you
eat
just go
that
home and
straight.
teabag a little bit.
I think you said it all, honestly. Pretty good. Pretty good speech. Not bad.
In a weird way, Retropalooza is how I got to it. A lot of you might know the story, some of you might not. I'll give the short version. When the Kickstarter went up, I contributed like anybody else. And then I saw that they had been funded, there were stretch goals, and I was like, I want all of these things to happen and no one seems to be pushing. I was like, people may not know. So I put on a video on my channel, I didn't tag anybody, I just did it hoping that they would find it. These guys found it. Sort of last minute. Became friends with the guys through distance. I was living down here at the time. Redneck Chris is like, dude, now I'm moving to DFW.
You fucking did it? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't know him that well.
That's how listen to Chris, right?
I didn't have anywhere else to go.
No, on the real though, yeah, man. I remember seeing early on before you were bored, you were always doing like little you do like a podcast style stream,
Yeah.
and you're doing content, pledging your support for the crowdfunding and stuff. And yeah, I haven't gotten to tell you thank you, but thank you.
Hey, no worries, man. It was my pleasure, and obviously it paid off. So that year, 2019, Arlington Retropalooza. I couldn't go to the actual event because I was working, but I could go to the after party free play. Go there, meet this chode and that chode in person for the first time. They both do the same thing. I shake my hand and go,
That was weird.
I had no idea what was going on. 3 days later, I get a message from him. Hey, we're doing these auditions. Can you come down? Sure. Get there, and we had the audition. 3 weeks later, 10 days later, we're on set.
Yeah.
For me, it was like 3 days later. Like we were gonna shoot like that weekend after when I was asked to be in it. Billy's like, we're down to the wire. I need you in this one, and it was like 5 days to go.
Yeah.
And that's when I jumped on board 5 days right before initial principal photography. Yeah, that was scary.
So Chief's part was actually written for Chad Tronick, if you guys know who he is. And he backed out, and then we actually hired an actor who wound up being in the movie, but not very long. He was one of the nerds. And he backed out like very last minute. He hadn't signed what's called a deal memo, basically a contract saying that you're gonna work this movie or we can sue you. So yeah, Chief came through in the clutch.
It was Retropalooza.
It was super last minute.
Yeah, it was.
A week before, we didn't have that fourth on the road trip, and then Chief.
It was Sunday. I think I was back in town before the end of the week.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I was like living on Jay's couch like all of October and like all of November, like going to meetings with them, helping Billy drive all over the place, looking for locations, and it was cool though. We got to hang out, be bros, and eat a lot. Swear to God, I eat more than anything whenever I'm around this guy. I like intensifies it.
I like food, man.
I do too. It's like, fuck, hurry up with this line.
Yeah, it was all smiles and hugs though. And the first thing these guys do is put me in the back of a fucking trunk.
That was The restaurant scene where Eric picks the food up off of the floor in the bathroom was the very first scene.
Jen,
we shot.
we'll tell the story about that a little bit. But yeah.
Jim, I got a question for Jim.
You have a question?
Did you keep the underwear, and if so, can I have it?
Someone wanted those things as far away from me as I could get them.
Funny thing about the underwear, that was like mustard and like chocolate. Mustard and chocolate.
Yeah, right.
Yes, ma'am.
When this cut Woody in the face, did it actually hurt him, or?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. People are talking over you. What'd you say?
Wood, did it actually hurt him, or was he okay or so?
Oh, I didn't actually make contact.
Nobody.
I did that. Okay, so funny story with that is when the actual footage was shot, he went like this, and like the gap between like his fist and Wood's face was like that. So I had to go in there digitally.
Bless you.
And like actually make the.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the best take because we did another take after that where it was because we were like, oh, you need to actually like we moved the camera to where it was actually a little more like the stick where I actually get it. But
Right.
that tape.
I remember
didn't
that.
look as good.
Okay.
It was like that was good.
Showing lights. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. When Axel hit me, she actually grazed my chin hair at one point.
Because it was take after take. It
Yeah.
takes like 10 takes. And at one point, she did hit him. I told her.
Grazed my chin hair, and then I think she felt it because as soon as cut, she was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry." I was like, "Yeah, no, that was close, but you know, whatever we gotta do for the shot."
No more cake?
Nobody wants to get it for seconds that they don't want to.
So I'm gonna like put my because it's my birthday, right? So I'm gonna like just shove my face.
Hang on, he wants seconds. Come on, Piggy.
Show us how the piggies eat.
I won't soil it until you get a piece, alright?
The kiddo wants another piece. Didn't he look like Mark Billy?
I already gave you a piece. This is seconds?
Seconds, yes.
I don't even get first.
He got seconds.
Alright.
Just give him the.
Hey, if the cake is gone, I don't have to shove my face in it. Yeah, bring closer, bring closer. It's gonna fall in pieces here. There
He just threw that in there like it was a fucking pig trough.
Watch Lady Billy over here.
you go. Yeah.
To the voice.
Hey, what's that? What's that Adam Sandler's movie? Like, where's that? You want some more sloppy joes? I can't.
Yeah, it was good enough. I don't know what it is, but was it a little Mickey?
Yeah, it's really bad. It's London. Yeah. You want it more sloppy?
I don't want
I
to
said
touch
it would
it.
have been funny.
Special face in there. No nuts. $20, I'll do it.
$20? I got 20 on that.
You fucking got
I'll do
it.
the smash your face in
What
there.
you gotta do the rest of the
I'll do it.
You gotta do the rest of the Q&A with the icing on your face, though. And hey,
You really think I
you gotta
have
let
dignity? I
Boogie
don't
lick
give
it
a
off.
fuck.
$20.
You gotta let
I'm sorry, I don't give a freak.
No, they're fine. Prove that.
Okay, let's get it here.
You do it?
Smash! Shit, that actually worked. You can do it!
Dude, hey, just eat it like it's a pie contest. It's pie.
Put my money away?
Goddamn.
Smash your face! What the hell did you think I was going to do? Give it back to you?
No, I wanted
No,
to eat
but
it.
not the section of 10 to 20, you would've did it.
Like in Stand By Me, the pie
Can I
eating
put it in my
contest. That's what
bowl? Alright.
Now, why don't you do a Herman Munster impersonation?
What y'all think of the movie? was shit, just tell me it was shit.
No.
Yeah, well. Yeah, that's actually good.
That's a good fucking cake.
I know, right?
Hey, don't you hate it when you have your birthday cake?
Don't you
You guys see me as made of cum?
Why don't we show them like photos now where we're all like
I'm jerking off on the camera.
What's that movie, what's that movie where, they're like eating like frosted donuts, and like they're like, oh man.
Van Wilder.
And they get to the bottom, and it's like a dog jerking off onto the donut.
Well, the dog didn't jerk itself off. They jerked the dog off into the donuts.
Ticket book man, $20 is $20.
Okay, Q&A. Who's got questions?
He's got
I have a question about like the one that's out here. Obviously, you didn't see Nintendo anywhere, but he did show Super Mario Bros. Footage. And also, there was most of the time you didn't have Chicago Cubs here to cap, but there was a sequence where you did. Was that just like an error or?
So, okay, I'll address the hat thing. We contacted Major League Baseball, asked if we could show the logo. They said contact the Chicago Cubs. They never got back to us. So just to be safe, so we didn't get sued, I just went with the plain blue hat. Now, when I put it on, that was like 2 weeks before the premiere, and we needed that transition shot in there. And I was like, dude, fuck it. Like, just at this point, fuck it. Like, we were even covering up tattoos and stuff like that because the person, like, this is a Star Wars tattoo, but the person who put it on me, the artist, he could have sued us for using his work without permission. So, like, we were taking the thing seriously.
One thing about tattoos real quick is that's something that WWE was getting sued over on one of their video games. The artist for Randy Orton's tattoos was threatened in lawsuits. So
Yeah.
basically you have to avoid that with tattoos.
Now, with the video game footage, that's definitely a Billy question.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Looks like Papa Smurf came on your fucking...
Or the Blue Man Group.
How blue was it?
That's gone now.
It's fine. It's fine.
Like, I'm thinking to myself,
It's gonna dye your skin.
I really regret
Oh,
doing
shit,
that.
I have
And I'm
some
like,
too.
fuck, I got $20. Now I can get like a gallon of gas now. I don't know, what's the fucking question?
So,
Oh, okay, so right, so the game footage. So, funny enough, we actually had a fan that worked in Nintendo of America. So, like legitimate, I could call up Nintendo of America and talk to somebody who was a fan who could literally walk to the next office over and talk to the legal department. Yeah, and so I kind of like ran some stuff by him, and he was like, "Hey, look, they're not going to sue you, but they're not going to give you permission, but they're not going to sue you. It's sort of like a because for Nintendo to give you permission to use all their shit, that means that they have to put their for lack of a better word, I guess Nintendo stamp of approval and everything. So it's like they have to assign a person, oversee it, all this red tape and money that they throw into it. So on their end, they're just more likely to say, you know, we're not gonna like do all that, you know, mumbo jumbo. We're just not gonna sue you. Just don't do anything really crazy with the NES. So I was told like, you know,
basically don't make Nintendo look bad.
Don't make Nintendo look bad. And that was never something we were gonna do anyway. So it's not like we had to compromise what we were gonna do. Right, so it's not like we had to sell out and be like, okay, well, we were gonna like shit on the Nintendo, but now we can't. No, that was never the intention anyway. So I was like, okay, cool, we're good to go then. That's not gonna be an issue. And but when it came to the Nintendo footage, like the actual Mario Brothers playing, I had somebody actually doing graphics of like a knockoff Super Mario Brothers that was like not actual Mario Brothers. And But then I'm watching Netflix one day, and I'm watching a movie on Netflix, and they're showing footage of like Super Mario Brothers, and I'm like, I know they didn't get permission to do that fucking shit. So I was like, fuck that.
So both times the answer is fuck that.
The funniest explanation you did was in California.
The video was there. They weren't the Mario Brothers.
So in California when we did this.
Well, they're really, okay, look, they're really strict on the sound effects. Yeah, really strict on the sound effects. So I was like, err on the side of caution. But basically we're told we're not going to be sued unless we're just like complete assholes. If we're assholes about it, we're going to get sued. I don't feel like we were assholes. I don't know.
The quote I was saying in California was when somebody was like, with the tattoos and the logos, you were like, well, eventually you thought about it, you're like, fuck it. Sue me for what?
Yeah.
Like Rocky.
I know, right? Sue us for what? I mean, sue us for what? My Nintendo games? Like,
Yes,
I
but
don't know.
Yeah, so, I love the ending sequence, Charge of Nerds, right? So this copyright issue, like I was expecting way more references. There's so many great references in the movie, like I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. It's so, like the script is really good. But I was expecting like Ready Player One level of nerd army stormtrooper hats. Was that ever one of the visions you guys had? Or was it like copyright?
Money, time, you name it.
Yeah,
It was
money,
all.
time.
So ultimately that was the vision that you had, or is it just a concession for other reasons?
Well, the nerd battle was shot, so when we initially shot the nerd battle, it was this big conception of what it was supposed to be.
Right.
What ended up happening was the AD, the first assistant director who was in charge of scheduling, overbooked that particular day, which means that we had way too much shit to do that particular day and not enough time to do it. What added to that complication was the fact that it started to rain, and with us being super low budget, we don't have safety days. Because safety days, each day we shoot is thousands of dollars with the crew that we have. So we didn't have a day to be like, you know, we're not Marvel to where like we're, you know, this day particular, if this day if it rains out on this particular day or whatever, we don't have time on the inside to say, you know, makeup days essentially, because we don't have the money to pay the crew. So what ended up happening is we didn't have shit that nerd battle because it was a complete rain out, nothing, just, so all of that was just pickup shots throughout the year, where we'd go back and we'd just shoot a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's why I say when like, you know, here's saying it's 3 weeks of shooting, it's not 3 weeks of shooting, it ended up being like 6 weeks of shooting, because when you talk about like pickups and all that throughout all the year, and so what that was originally conceived to be just morphed. And it came to a point where it's like, what I really want to do, we're not going to be able to do, because he had he had some stunts that he was going to perform, all this stuff that was supposed to happen, and it was just like, I got to get something, just anything. So we just kind of made it up on the fly. It just, it's one of the curses of being just low budget, and that's just the way it is.
Quick follow-up then?
Yeah.
Was there actually no Magic the Gathering in the party scene? And if so, why? And if so, I hate you.
was there any actual magic?
I think there were some magic cards there, but none of us are dorks enough to know how to play that.
When it comes to that, we were like, literally, like, I'm no joke, we were like, we need nerds. We did a casting call for nerds.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck they brought, they brought.
Yeah.
That's
So I was
awesome.
for the sequel, maybe, because I got all the Magic cards.
There was
Right.
tabletop stuff.
Right.
There was tabletop.
Whatever they brought, they
Right,
brought.
I see,
So,
good,
right,
But
yeah.
I'm like, here's the reason I asked. Is because Magic the Gathering, anytime they're mentioned in anything, they'll like put you on the Mothership website. And I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, oh man, I could submit them. What the fuck's the Magic cards?
So what you're saying is you have to add a pickup shot of
I had a
a
picture
deck
shot of it.
just being shown.
I thought it was funny during that party scene, you guys had Trivial Pursuit cards in your hands, but categories.
Oh, it was a mess.
Yeah, it
It was a mess. There was all sorts of shit all over the place.
yeah. Next question. Right here, glasses.
Damn.
Yeah, you're one of those. Several pairs of glasses. Yes.
This chat right here.
The NES that you were using, was that an actual NES or like a prop?
It was actual. It functional, worked.
Did it survive?
Yeah, it really has
You
it.
had everybody sign it, right?
Yeah, we had everybody sign it like that last We were all the cast, crew, everybody.
There's a main NES and there's a stunt NES. the stunt NES actually got, I think, like a chip broken out of it.
No. Oh.
Because I threw it up, like I was getting pickup shots, and my wife was like, I was like, okay, you need to catch this.
Oh God.
So the shot where it's like it's coming down in slow motion, that was a pickup shot that we got afterwards. And I'm like shooting it, and they're like, you need to catch this. She didn't. She didn't catch it. And then like it just slammed on the concrete and just destroyed. But a lot of, you know what's funny is like a lot of what you see with the NES. So we had an issue with the logo. So one thing, going back to like the legal stuff, Nintendo, one thing they said was like, please don't show the logo. So that was one thing we had to do, is like cover up the logo.
Even the NES box, when you find that in the basement, if you didn't pay close enough attention, it doesn't say Nintendo on it at all.
They want you to say NES.
Right, so they don't want to show the logo because again, that associate whenever we show like the logo, that implies that it's endorsed. Thank you. Endorsed by them, and they're not endorsing it, but they're also not like saying you can't do that. So it's just like this weird gray area. So we had to cover up the logo. So as you all know, on the NES, on the front, like flat, the door that opens up on the top, we put the games in, there's a Nintendo logo on it. So we had to cover that up. And you know, a lot of times on small budget, you just do what you do. Mm-hmm. So Mo at the time, who was the art director, put like a sticker on the front of the NES.
Duct tape, I think.
Yeah, well, it wasn't duct tape. It was like, well, it was tape, but it was kind of like designed in a way to make it look like it was supposed to be, like on the NES. It wasn't just like, let's just slap some tape on here and call it a day. It was actually designed to make it look like it was part of the system. But as I got into editing, I'm like, that doesn't look good, man. So every shot you see of the NES, I literally went into like post-production and I'm like, I just don't like that. I think it looks like shit. And that's not a knock on Mo. He was just doing what he could do at that particular point to cover up the logo. That's just part of it. But as I was saying, I was like, this isn't going to translate well. It's like a big sticker on the front. I just don't think it looks good. And so I had to go in there frame by frame digitally and just erase that and just like literally every shot where you see the front of the NES and take off that tape to where it's like it's nothing. It's like just gray. So yeah, every shot that you see of the front of the NES is completely digitally altered.
It's in the box too.
Yeah, in the box. Like we had a completely different box there on set where it's like they just put like tape over the NES logo, and I just recreated all that digitally. And I was like, that's part of the reason why it took so long. Is like I had to go in there and digitally and just alter so much stuff.
Yeah, if you look at the trailer that came out and you see when he opens the box, it's like, oh look, an NES. It's like the tape over where it says Nintendo. You made it say NES in the Nintendo font instead on the movie, so you can see like photoshopped.
That's fun though. I love that shit. It's fun. It's fun to make.
Okay, question about locations. And did you pay for those locations?
Yes.
I've heard other filmmakers talk about, oh, we found some free locations, but they didn't run us off.
Well, first of all, fuck those guys.
So,
yeah, give them your number.
Yes, we paid for just about every location. I guess like we didn't pay to drive on the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess if we wanted to get down to it, we probably should have had permits and all this other shit. We blocked off roads and blah blah blah.
We did have permits.
No, not on the driving shots.
Well, not the pickup shots, but it made them the main like principal photographer. We had permits from the city of Wasatch and Cedar Hill to shoot.
Yeah, we did that, but yeah,
But
in the house we
the
had to pay.
stuff, no, not so much.
Yeah, not the stuff.
We just said fuck it.
Every scene.
We're like, hang on, the car's coming.
Every scene that you see us in the car, we're on a trailer.
Yeah, well,
we're not
mostly.
I said most. Most scenes that you see us in, we're hitched up on a trailer. It's the most craziest process you will ever be a part of if you're ever making a movie. The process is just nothing you've never ever experienced. I thought we were going to be driving around with like cameras hanging out the side of the car. No, they put the whole car
on
On
the
a trailer,
put the camera on the
hood, and that's.
so it could look in.
But that's because the car, the Ghost Getters, on the first day of filming, broke down on us.
So that's the story. Actually. So this is day one.
Day one.
What, 5 a.m. call? You had to show
Yeah,
up
you're
5
there
a.m. Cold as fuck. I'm over here, I'm sure we're all in the same boat, I said this, I'm over here thinking it's just gonna be like us, Billy, a camera guy, like some chode holding a boom mic. So I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be like just a YouTube video, we're good. We show up, there's fucking like full-fledged, like 20, 30 other people there, a full crew, people setting up breakfast and shit. They're giving terms to us immediately, like, hey Billy, you know, if you want to go over here and give you the cast for this scene to do some blocking, and I'm like, what the fuck is blocking? And and then okay guys, go to wardrobe, get mic'd up, and go do this and that. And we're waiting. Ghost Getter 1 is not there yet. We're like, fuck, where's it at? Blah blah blah, because that was the first thing on the call sheet. And like he said, we don't have makeup time. Like if we can't shoot something that day, we got to go to the next thing or adapt to it. Like the word of the day was no, you can't do that. Like on set. So yeah, so Ghost Getter.
So I get a call, and it is one of the producers, Scott and Mo. They were working on the car the night before, and they're like, car overheated. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, it's kind of on the side of the road right now. I'm like, what the fuck did y'all do? I found this car probably, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half from me. Billy went and picked it up, drove it to his house. I drove it from his house to Chris's house. They don't live really close, right? Drove it from Chris's house to Mo's house. Zero fucking issues. Someone else gets behind the wheel.
There was a small issue. I was smelling some weird smells.
That was the hepatitis in the car. So we had to have, now again, we're going to be talking about budget a lot, and mind you, we should not have been able to make this movie on the budget that we had. But now we got to spend money on a fucking tow truck, because this car has to be on set. We need this fucking car. What? No, hell no, the tow truck wasn't in the budget.
There was no like emergency.
Yeah. So we get it on set. We get some water in it, and just the best we can. So like when Joe runs up to the car after we run out of the restaurant, like the car should not have been driven, but we had to drive it a little bit. So when I took off, I drove maybe 20 feet, had to stop, back up, and again, and again. Ultimately, we had to replace the engine. So that cost $4,500 or so. But it's got a 3-year warranty on it now.
Movie back, because he just let it slip. In the scene, I'm in the driver's seat when we drive off. When you see the tail end, Jay's driving it because I refuse to drive that fucking, that shit was gonna explode. And your fucking cousin, dude, at any time the spokes can just come out and it's gonna impale you guys.
My cousin was like, this car's gonna die, man. It's gonna destroy you.
It did die. I was following Jay. I was following Jay. And remember, I was following Jay and then hit the car just. It was smoking from behind, and I was like, Jay, the car! Oh, Jay, like pull, and then we pull over to like a church, right? And we just abandoned the car at the church.
So we had to, like that first location was the restaurant, and then the next, I don't know.
Garage sale was day 2.
The week we spent at the church camp, we were trying to get the car there, and it was about 30 minutes away, and Chief is following me. And the car keeps just fucking dying. It just got too hot, so we had to leave it. We went and ate, came back, did the same thing. We finally got the car where it needed to go. But I actually did like 98% of the driving done in there. I did it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like when we were shooting, we had such limited time to get the shots that we need with principal photography. Like we didn't have time to get like B-roll of the car just like going down the road.
Right, so all that was done.
So I told Rudy, it's like we'll get that afterwards. Don't worry. But then the fucking car is like not working. So it's like,
and this is day 1.
Yeah, well, and then so it's like, and this just added to the whole like why it took so long. And there was a point where, like, you know, the part where the car goes off the mountain. Oh, that's a model. It's like a.
It's not real.
That's literally like a $1,500 model that we bought, a replica somebody built of the car. And I was like, maybe if we shoot this in like weird perspectives, maybe we can get that and not actually have to get the car fixed. We can get that as the B-roll. Nah, it didn't work.
Didn't work.
So it worked. It worked for the actually falling off the mountain, sure. But like we had to get that car fixed. It was, and I think it ended up being like 6K with 6K with like everything because like they went in and they were like, oh wow, what the fuck? There's muck in the transmission and all this other stuff going in. Like
they were trying to upsell y'all.
No, but it was a piece of shit though. To be fair.
So back to day one though, because they were trying to figure out the car issue. They were like, well, fuck, the next thing on the list, Eric, get on the toilet, right? So the official first thing of the movie was me on the toilet.
Yeah, first thing filmed was that.
And keep in mind, the only motherfuckers I knew were these guys on set. Only people I knew. So some dude I don't know, that he was kind of commanding the first little bit. Rudy, yeah. He was like, all right, I need you to get in the toilet. And this bathroom was literally like, you walk in, there's a sink, a toilet, and like a urinal, like it's tiny. There's 4 of us in it. I'm on the toilet. The camera guy is sitting with his ass in the sink. This cute girl that was like his assistant is looking through the preview window right there, and then the other dude is holding the fucking like boom mic. And then right outside the door was Billy looking at a viewfinder.
I'm literally saying, okay, you fart. Now you hear people yelling. There's a spider. You go and try to find toilet paper, and it's like empty.
And keep in mind, I had my shirt over, but there was underwear, and I don't know these people, so I'm literally like with my pants down, and 30 people are watching. This is the first fucking thing. I'm nervous as fuck. And you do all that, and then Peter, who is the cinematographer, tells me, hey, do a couple other things. He goes, do me a favor, put the sandwich on the floor, like a piece of it. He goes, I just want you to pick up, look at it, and kind of dust it off. And I swear to God, I didn't even think. Like, I was just like, okay, I look at, did this, and then I put it, and I ate it. I swallowed that shit. Wasn't planned. That was not in the script.
No, okay, good, look. I had this shot planned out. I was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just get a shot of you picking up, then we'll cut.
And then you need a piece of clean sandwich.
Close up of your face.
Yeah.
This motherfucker just eats it. So I'm like.
And I hear vaguely outside the bathroom door, I hear Rudy go, did he just eat that?
I was standing next to Rudy. And he goes, did he just eat that? I said, oh, it's gonna get worse, watch.
And that was the first thing, but I knew like the look on, I didn't know Peter then, but I knew the look on his face as soon as I ate it. He had like you know where he's kind of that little like, all right.
Okay, right.
Like he knew we would be down. Like I think that's when we won him over.
Yeah,
it was right there. And then, so that was the first thing.
Hey, you know, people want to work with other people who are committed.
That was commitment.
It puts a whole new spin on taking a bite out of the shit sandwich, though, I'll tell you that.
Let me describe this bathroom for y'all real quick, okay? So this restaurant is like half restaurant, and the other half is like bar, okay? Like a hole in the wall, if you will, shit kicker fucking like bar. This is a unisex bathroom. So people are going in there, undoubtedly missing the fucking toilet, pissing on the floor, walking on the floor, probably puking on the floor, and who fucking knows what else, coming on it and whatever. And it just goes.
So this was first thing when they opened, so it probably got like a half-ass bar. You know, when a bar opened, you know, they don't fucking clean that shit. And
so can I ask you something? Like, I know the answer, but maybe they don't.
Okay, go on.
What possessed you to fucking do that?
So a catchphrase that wasn't born at the time, because it was day one, was anything for the shot. Anything for the fucking shot. And for that reaction that they had today when I ate it.
I think when you put your feet next, I actually said that part where Eric has his feet on my shoulder, it wasn't up to my face. And again, we said anything for the shot, right? I said, Eric, put your feet right on my face. Anything for the shot. And then I actually was going to like kiss it, like I was screaming, but I thought that was too goddamn much. I was like, no, I love these guys, but I ain't doing that shit.
The puke was actually Gatorade.
It was Gatorade. Green, like lemon lime. But yeah, day one was all the restaurant stuff.
You know what's funny is like that was literally just made up on the spot. We were going to pick up shots of the car and drive.
That was 3 years.
We were like,
3 years later.
Yeah, I think we just because it was like 100 degrees outside. And we're like, we just happened to have Gatorade, and I think
it was cucumber Gatorade, and I hate that shit.
And I think we're like, you know, it'd be funny if like Eric just put his feet on you and just
yeah, we made that.
Oh, that part where I'm hanging out of the car. I told you, I was like, put your feet on top of my back,
so
and you can see his little feet dangling up there. That added to it. That was a good shot.
Next question. Yes, ma'am. Then you next.
Whenever you're wearing your necklace, the Triforce necklace, right? So you have these really cool shots to where you can kind of see where this is going, but so in the Tesseract, right? There's the LED of the Triforce behind it. So I guess I was wondering, was that? I mean, obviously it was intentional because you're wearing the necklace of where you're going to find the NES, kind of at the later part. Was there a different part that you were going to tie into there?
That wasn't intentional.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
I would love to sit here and tell you a bunch of bullshit and be like, oh yeah,
it was artistic.
Oh, it was an artistic decision. No, that was literally just the set designer just saying, oh, this is a gaming movie. Let's put a little Triforce on here. That's just something I always wear, and I thought it'd be cool if like throughout the entire movie it's just like hidden, but then like at the end it just kind of pops out. That's just yeah.
And then you're the Tesseract, and you see
But in terms of like that there, no, Mo, who is the set director, I wish I could take credit for that, but I can't. That's Mo, the set director. He just, like, his job is to basically make the set look. Well, him and Mandy. Yeah, and they would make the set look the way it was supposed to look, and we just showed up one day and there's a little Triforce there, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
So that was kind of like,
cool. Yeah, like I really wish I could take credit for that. Yeah, but no, I can't.
So the necklace is kind of like in episode 4 when you see the thing that Vader has around his neck sometimes. Like he has that little necklace thing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Let's go with
like
that.
there's scenes where he's holding Antilles and then he doesn't have it. That's kind of what it is.
No, if y'all ever like come up with like just if y'all ever come up with like interpretations of like that, just go with it.
Put the fan fictions on.
Just let's just pretend we knew what we were doing.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for the one at the very end.
What's up,
Chief?
When the little troller symbol pops up at the end or so, how many takes did it take for you to not
That's all we can
scream or
afford.
laugh? I thought you would like laugh and you had to like retake it because of how funny it pops up or so.
Literally, like every time Chief had to shoot something, there was only time for him to like do it like once or twice.
That's it. I didn't do 10K. That was not us. We did it in 1 or 2, and we moved on to the next.
I would like to say. I would like to say something here.
In like 3 or less, honestly.
I would like to say something here. Like, to me, when you're in that spot, that is like literally your best acting, bar none.
Which part?
And that scene.
When you don't have time to think about it.
So Chief, at the very beginning of when we were shooting the movie, was like, cause he just kind of like, he was just like thrown on right at the last minute, and you know, it was a little rough at the beginning because he was so worried about remembering lines and all this other stuff. But once he kind of like got into it, like to me, he was like the best part of the movie.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Like I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I truly believe like you're one of the best.
Aww.
One of the best
It
parts
wouldn't have been
of
the
the
same
movie.
without you, man.
Yeah, I kind of pictured my part with like how. What was that white guy's name?
Chatronic.
Chad.
And the term is Caucasian male.
Caucasian male.
But you can really tell because that shot, the shot with the gnome, that was literally like the second or third to the last day of shooting.
Yeah.
That was one of the last days of shooting. And he was so, at that point, he was so comfortable with what he was doing, and I just looked at that scene, and I could just see how comfortable he is with all this now, and I'm like, oh my God! Like if we just had just had that from the beginning. Not that anything he's done is bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not please don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. But he was just so calm, confident, and into what he was doing at that point. I'm like, this is, oh my God! Like, you may be like literally one of the best actors on this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was shocked when he said cut. I'm like, I was gearing myself to do it again. You know, I was like, all right, let's do it again, Eric, let's go. No, he said, I think we got it.
Hey, so
remember you said, I think we got it.
So y'all gonna fucking make out next or what?
You gotta turn it gay, don't you?
Johnny do it. No, for real, props, man. And Jen too, because he was throwing in last night. Jen fucking killed it.
Jim actually, he came in clutch for us because we actually had that role written for somebody else completely different, and they just built. And what sucks is like when you're spending 2 years writing the script and you visualize somebody in that particular role, you see them like when you're reading his lines and you're writing his lines, you see their faces and you see their expressions, you see their mannerisms. You're like, that person is that character. And like when that person dropped out and that role was already written, I'm like, holy fuck, what are we? I was like in a really bad place. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to do now. And we did auditions. He came in, he nailed it, and I'm like, you know what? You're reading the lines just really, really good. My only issue was that he didn't quite have the punchable face that the other character had.
Extremely punchable face.
The one that was written for had such a punchable face.
Oh yeah.
Still has one.
Still has one. Yeah. I remember, so you knew Chris, and then Chris introduced us at Free Play. And within 5 minutes, I'm like, this guy's as big a fuck as Justin. I think we need to get him to the audition.
I like how we weren't saying the names, and then this guy just...
Well, hang on. I was going to say no one knows who he is, but some people in this room.
I have no idea.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Silverman.
Yeah, and he and I like talk all the time now. We're like, we became friends because of it.
What are you guys going to make out?
Well, I mean, he was literally the reason why this movie even happened. We were sitting at Retropalooza. What was it?
Too many games.
Too many games. And he came up, hey, you guys ever thought about doing the movie? And we're like, no.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I was at a fucking restaurant in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was at that one wing place, like right next to Target.
He was like, man, you guys should do a movie. And I'm like, I literally had never fucking thought about doing that. Like, and then, well, I mean, I've thought about doing movies, but not like I don't know. I just didn't. And then we're just kind of like, okay, I don't know, maybe we're teasing the idea. And then we thought about all this shit, and it literally like the idea of like doing a movie lasted like a year. We were like, just kind of like, I think y'all, you guys probably. You probably were like, yeah, you probably forgot about it.
I did. Let me cut you off real quick, but I remember that, and then I think maybe like a year and a half later or something, Billy's like, hey, check this out. And he starts going over the script, and I was like, damn, like, you took that to heart, and he started writing a fucking script.
But it was something that we always jokingly, like, in the middle, like, in a chat, we're like, hey, wouldn't that be funny if the movie was about, like, we had all these stupid ideas, but then, yeah, he busted out with little red
here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's like, I don't want to make a movie just for the sake of making a movie. It was like, I don't know, like, if I'm not, like, inspired by something, I don't give a fuck. Like,
that's the fucking fact.
If I'm not inspired or fuck, I don't give a fuck. Like, I know, like, it has to mean something to me. And, like, I started thinking about, like, we started thinking about, like, all this, like, oh, what if Game Chasers go back in time travel and all this other stuff?
Games on the moon.
Yeah, and I'm at the point, okay, this is just a stupid idea. And I literally fucking just I was like, fuck, this is stupid. Didn't even fucking think about it for months. And all of a sudden, like, I don't even remember what the fuck happened, but I was just sitting there thinking, and I was thinking about my grandfather, because a lot of what you see in the movie is, like, literally real life. And I was just thinking about my grandfather and thinking about the NES, and I'm like, oh shit, I can actually do a movie about how I actually feel. That actually means something.
And I vaguely remember sometimes when we would just chat, we'd be like, man, I wonder where my like where our childhood NESs are, like right now. Like
Yeah.
where, like, cause I pawned mine when I was
Exactly.
like, I'm like, where the fuck is my Nintendo? It's like, is it even functioning still? Is it, who the fuck has it? Like, somebody in this room could have my NES.
Yeah, because all the
his
stuff,
too.
all the stuff with my grandfather, like literally all that's fucking true. Like except for the fucking like I mean there was like he didn't take it like put like no notches on it or anything like
And
that.
y'all didn't meet each other.
Yeah, we didn't know each other
that's,
work.
that's like that's movie, you know, you gotta do movie shit.
To Hollywood it up.
Yeah, Hollywood it up, but like all the sentimental stuff, like the stuff that like you got, like it's all like legitimate, like that all comes from like deep down inside, like shit, and then but that's the point where it's like you become inspired, you know, it's like now I actually feel like I want to devote years of my life to actually doing something now, because I can like, I don't know, my grandfather is dead, and I got into collecting because of him, I started. Like he just up and died one day, and I'm like, shit, you know. And then like one day, like I started like looking at like all the NES games and stuff that we used to play together, and I'm like, shit, you know. He gave us our NES, and like he used to, so.
Hey, we love you, Bill.
Love you.
I'm glad you asked us all to be on. It meant a lot. Yes, Hank Hill.
Yes, Hank Hill.
Okay, so since we love the actors, you guys would love to do a sequel with the Avengers and the Game Chaser movie 2.
Whether it's a direct sequel or not, whatever the fuck it is, if these guys make a stupid movie about fucking ghoulies coming out of the toilet, I'm down.
Same. You will never not be invited to do a movie with it. We're actually working on 2 scripts right now. It's not a direct sequel, but everything will tie in to the Game Chaser cinematic universe.
Would you guys help fund it? Would that be another thing, another Kickstarter? Would that be something you might get into? There you go.
So to answer that question, because someone asked me earlier, yeah, we want to continue to make movies.
So I know it took a while for the movie to finally get done and get released. I guess what I'm wondering is how much of that was COVID and how much of it was y'all just being really small?
A year of that was COVID. We couldn't do anything for a year. Nobody wanted to be around each other. You know, the whole fucking world was afraid, and once it started letting up and people got more comfortable. So we lost a whole year, almost. We shot in November 19, and then what, like February, March 2020?
We literally ended like a day or two before Thanksgiving 2019.
Yeah.
Well, so as I was saying before, like the Nerf battle stuff that we got rained out, the plan was, because everyone, you know, you're in Texas, you guys know that like the trees, they fall off in winter, and then like in springtime they come back. Usually, like we shot like principal photography in November, but there was still leaves on the tree and stuff, right? So to make that match, we were like, okay, we got to come back in September, or springtime, and get all those shots, and then like COVID hit.
Yeah, we couldn't do dick for a year.
Don't get it wrong though, he was still working on the shit.
Yeah,
hard.
it's like so we needed to film this big giant Nerf battle with a bunch of people on when nobody was gonna do shit with COVID.
Right.
So it's like, what are we gonna do, right?
Yes.
I'm kind of thrown off. So I'm new to this. I just found it out last year.
Okay.
And my sons, walk in and their first interaction with you is you butt naked.
Wait. Which time?
So walk outside, I was like, that's the dude that was naked. And then you say right now you're really uncomfortable.
No. I said it was uncomfortable because it was a tiny bathroom that literally only 2 people tops could fit in, and I literally just met these people within like a half hour.
And he gets naked in front of us all the time.
I never made a movie, and they're telling me get on a toilet and do this.
This is a testament of your acting, though.
Yeah. No, it wasn't so much that I was like embarrassed or shy. It was like, you know, when you're doing something for the first time with somebody.
You look at me right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the inside joke, is everybody that literally, somebody said it best on Twitter the other day, if you hang out with me enough, you'll see my ass.
Well, yeah, and it's like you said, like, I knew what we were getting into, well, for the most part. Like, I knew, you know, we had a Kickstarter, we're spending that money to actually get a big crew, because we want this thing to look and sound the way, look and sound the best it can possibly be. A lot of these guys didn't know what we were getting into, so.
And I gotta say this, he was a tight-lipped motherfucker leading up to it. Like, we didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I didn't even know if it was still happening.
No
It show up.
shit.
And I'm like, holy fuck, Billy fucking did it. We got a fucking crew here. Like, I was impressed.
Well, I mean, Rudy did it. Like, Scott went and hired, or he found Rudy, and this is just how the film industry goes in the DFW area. It's like, everybody kind of knows each other. It's like, hey, I need an AD, I need an assistant camera, I need a gaffer, I need you know, a best boy, whatever the fuck that is.
I don't know what the best boy is. Is it? Okay.
But yeah, no, the crew was, it was great. But even though it is, you know, it's funny, is even though I knew what we were getting into, even I was like that first week, like, it was scary, man. Like, it's just like, you can't prepare yourself for that until you're actually there. And I was like, that first day was just like really, really stressful. And
I wish we could refilm like the first 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and all the stuff that you saw with like the underwear throwing Roy's face, all that was the first day stuff. I think it turned out great.
Yeah.
I think it turned out great. But no, it's like, I think it's just a natural process. Like, once you start kind of getting into it, you get more comfortable, things start to flow a little bit better. And yeah, I think this is a natural maturity process that goes through it.
But throughout the whole thing, I actually, this is a confession I don't think I've made in front of all the boys. I refused to read ahead in the script because things were changing as we went along, because they had to, and I wasn't going to get married to my interpretation of how it was going to go. I just took the sides and did it on the day. So, I was completely unprepared. So David says, all right, we're going to go shoot the zip line scene now. I have a phobia of heights, folks. And,
well, okay, wait, hold on. That was originally supposed to be a hot air balloon. Like, he was supposed to go into a hot air balloon, and Larissa, a couple of days before, she was like, because we had a hot air balloon in the budget to bring out a hot air balloon, and she was like, oh, by the way, we made a mistake. It's actually $500 for us to go to the hot air balloon. It's much, much more for them to come to us. And so that was an issue. Yeah. We didn't have like $2 grand in the budget to spend on a hot air balloon at that point. So we had to, she literally came up, and I, you know, credit to Larissa, she came up with like, and this is part of just for filmmaking, you have to kind of like adapt on the fly and come up with new shit. And she was like, she had already been thinking about this because she knew that we weren't going to be able to do what we were, Larissa's a line producer, by the way. And she knew that we weren't going to be able to do the climactic ending that was written in the script. She was already thinking ahead, like, what can we do? Well, what's here at where we're already shooting that we can kind of like fake? And she came up with the zip line stuff.
Which was perfectly well and good. I was like, oh, it should be fine. I was in the Marines. It's no big deal. And you saw, like, the stairs are attached to these 4 wooden planks by chains. Which means, of course, when a 400-pound person steps on it, it shakes a bit. And then a bit more. And then a bit more. And when you have a crippling fear of heights, that's the kind of thing that's going to send you into a spiral. And maybe down the spiral staircase. I get halfway up, my knees just lock. And the color leaves my face. Bill, I can't move. He's like, what?
Dude, you were like ghost white.
Yeah.
Like, I could see the fear in your fucking face.
Yeah,
so,
I couldn't move.
Good job, like anything for the shot, because, dude, I could tell, like you say, crippling fear, yeah, it was fucking obvious.
Yeah, I was mortified. And we did 2 takes from each side, one over my shoulder, and then one from over their shoulder to get all the things.
And I so wanted you to go higher.
I tried.
I was like, because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from a director standpoint. I'm like, he's like one rung up. You tell me we couldn't actually. You tell me we couldn't catch it? Like, really?
You weren't even 10 feet off the ground though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It wasn't even that high.
I'm like, we're really gonna need to fake this to make it look like you're high up, because like we're looking at it, like I could like in 3 seconds I could be up there where you are right now.
Yeah, I could have placed on him from the ground actually.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where like I knew that the shot would have been grander if I could get out there, and I was just like trying to push my whole body, which is frozen solid. Didn't go, but they were very cool about it, made it work. I liked the way the shot turned out for what it was. And it was like, I was this ball of fear for about an hour and a half. And then I tell that to go into the story that I have yet to tell. It's been one I've been hanging on to when we go down. After that shot, we come down off the stairs, and they start prepping the dummy for the fall. And right away I'm like, this is cool. I have a stunt dummy. They try to throw it off the top of the thing. Well, can't get his fat ass up there. We get a goddamn dummy up there. You know, they throw it off. Didn't quite work, and they ended up having to like cheat the shot by just throwing it in the air. Which, hey, it works. It's great. That's awesome. They get the shot of them catching it, and the dummy, just that perfect. I didn't see it in the moment. I was like 20, 30 feet away. But then I see playback. I saw I lost all of the tension in my body. I started laughing like a hyena on heroin for like 10 minutes. And there's footage of this. I just could not stop laughing. It was such a catharsis of all that fear and everything. And plus, the dummy hitting is fucking fun. I don't care who you are.
No, the gag worked really well. Actually, everybody on set was just dying laughing.
Oh, so good.
There's nothing better than a dummy in a movie.
No.
You had 5 of them up here in the movie. Insane, right?
Next question. Yes, ma'am.
Was the spider that you used real or fake?
Yes, it was real.
Were you guys like really scared of it or something?
No. I love that little spider.
Yeah. That was just a stupid bit that really didn't make any sense. I think what on the tree one time, that was CG.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't CG. The one on the tree, okay, so those were all pickup shots that we shot a year later, and unfortunately the spider died.
Aww. We didn't tell
Steven, by the way.
Steven was his name.
But I was like, and then I got somebody, like I hired somebody to do CGI of a spider, and this recording, is there people where it was bad. Like I couldn't use it. I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. It wasn't Yoshi, by the way. And edit that part out. So I literally took what you see on the tree is literally the same shot as like the spider on Joe. I just cut it out frame by frame and put it on the tree.
And for the scene where I fall out the back of the trunk and Steve's crawling on me, we did like 3 or 4 different ways of trying to get him to crawl in a certain way. And the car was on the trailer and like leaning back, so it'd be easier for me to fall back. And every time they'd be like, "Cut, Jim, are you okay?" I'm like, "Fuck me, how's Steve? Make sure the spider's not crushed and it's okay." But we love that guy. He's really cool spider guy.
I thought you asked was the fire real. That's what I heard.
You did say spider, right? Okay.
Okay, well, just to answer the other question, the fire was real.
Fire was real. The torch was real.
That wasn't a dummy. That was my ass getting set on fire.
Yes, sir.
Well, the Men in Black scene where y'all on top of each
Yeah.
other, was that ropes or stuff, or was that y'all just...
So, no, funny thing, actually,
story.
for whatever fucking reason, when it was me
Jay
and
wasn't strong enough.
No.
Bullshit.
When it was Jay and me, actually, I was actually almost 50 pounds heavier back then too, by the way. I lost like 50 pounds since then.
Yeah.
We shot the basement part with the game got on fire.
Fuck you, by the way.
We shot that 2 years later, and leading up to it, he's like, "Can you get fat again?"
I was like, why are you doing this way? You know we need to do reshoot.
Then I had like long hair now, and I had a Like
So
long as
the
beard.
biggest thing with the stacking was we couldn't get the fucking coat to
close.
lay right, like over me. And I don't know if it's because I'm just too
Brock
wide.
Lesnar traps.
Didn't we go from store to store looking for a trench
Oh,
coat?
dude, it's a pain
Yeah.
in the ass to find
So
that jacket.
the person actually carrying him was the medic, the on-set medic.
And he's short.
Short, and he was little.
Good traps, but not like you.
Yeah, good traps, but not bigger traps. So his name was Joey. So Eric is stacked on top of him, and when you cut to me, I'm actually sitting on the floor. Eric is on a
I'm
box.
on a table.
Yeah, on a table, and his legs are just dangling over.
And we faked it until it looked like inside. But no, like, legitimately the dude, no, I was sitting on a table and he was in front. But no, the medic was legitimately carrying me. But then when you see the scenes of me talking, I'm actually standing on a ladder on the rungs facing this way. And then when you see the bad guys talking up to me, that's just the jacket there in my hand, like on a ladder off screen. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. It was a good scene. Like that was one scene that you're like, no, this scene has to fucking happen.
Yeah, that was look, that was in the scene for like, that was actually in like the very, was one of the very first things ever. I was like, I want two people stacked on top of each other. Like, that's gotta be in the movie. Like, that's just gotta be a thing.
And one of the scripts we're working on, we've actually incorporated the stack into the script already.
The next one?
Yeah.
Damn, better get Joey to fucking do it again.
No, it's gonna be two kids, and I'm not gonna say anything else.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
So between after post-production all the way up to release now, how hard is it for all of y'all not to tell any of your closest friends
Oh
and
my
family
God.
about the movie during those 3 years?
For me personally, we have a friend that is really into Ghostbusters, and I so wanted to be like, oh man, just wait till you see me and Chief, we're the ghost getters, and we have this freaking car that has tubes, and we do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And she didn't even watch the trailer. Like, that's how much she wanted to be surprised. And holding on to that secret, and then also not really telling your family too,
Yeah.
you know, and like, just everybody kind of like it's almost like I was more excited for people to see it than it to be out, for me personally.
Yeah, and like people would say like, well, what role do you play in the film? And I was like, because I can't divulge that I end up being the heavy at the end. And no pun intended. Okay. We all get it. I'm fat. Fine. It's fine. So I was just, I'm the villain. I'm Toady. Crackballs. It'll be funny. I swear. But it would suck to just not be able to have that and not to be able to tell them when it's coming out. Very hard.
For me, honestly, I got fucking nightly questions when I stream, so it's actually harder to talk about it without giving anything away, but letting people know what the movie was enough to where if they hadn't backed it, go, you know what, fuck it, here's $15. That was harder than anything else.
And then we have people asking you questions like, so how many farts are there in it?
Yeah.
How many burps? How many times is this? Is this guy in it? Is Alpha Omega Sin in the movie? Is this guy in it? And it's all
Is
like,
AG in it? Is Alpha Omega Sin?
Is AG in it? And then it's like, oh, is it better than this movie? Is it better than that? And it's
One of
all
the
like,
most recurring questions was like, is there nudity? Like,
yeah,
no, what the fuck
like,
is wrong with y'all?
is there a sex scene?
What? All the fucking time. I was like, no, actually, like, it's fucking PG.
Yeah, that and is passive.
And they're like, can you compare movies like to what it's like and blah blah blah? I'm like, motherfuckers, all the shit's on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Go to it.
Yeah, go to it. And then another one, oh, is it better than the AVGN movie? I'm like, look, we're not trying to compete with the AVGN movie. We're trying to make our own thing. It's not even the same.
So I do want to say, by the way, as far as YouTuber movies go, I'm not throwing shade at any specific person, Gabriel. As far as YouTuber movies go, this is the best one I've seen, and I watched most of them.
Thank you. This man didn't leak.
And now somebody's fucking putting it on fucking like,
Yeah, I mean, it will be.
It will be.
Look, we just made what we thought was awesome, and like if people like it, then they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Next question.
no matter what, at the end of the day, it came out. And that's all that
Yep.
I'm just fucking looking forward to.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the fire that came out of the car real or no?
Spider?
No,
Fire.
not fire.
So you're talking about when I said, let's,
Backfire.
you see this, let's go, and I hit the thing and
That was not real.
No, I put that in digitally.
I thought it was because maybe the engine blew or something like that.
fuck no, I would have fucking ran right out of my car.
No, at that point we had gotten the
Yeah, we got
replacement,
that.
and so we got the B-roll, but I still got to make the car look shitty in post. So.
Yes, sir.
Were you questioning?
Oh. I was kind of like nervous because I was like, man, like, I hope this doesn't suck.
You were nervous?
And then
Hey, you're not the only one.
this makes shit that I love. And I was looking at my family and I'm like, oh shit, like this actually started to come up with something. You had that thing where it was like the story that built out of it. There was loving and caring. And I was a little shocked by that, you know. And it actually turned out to be pretty fun. Like, it was a good movie. It was actually a good movie. No bullshit. But
No cap.
as a writer, I'm like really interested. I like some I like watching your commentary and stuff like that. But what was it's gonna sound weird, but I'm really actually serious. What was the science behind the idea that the map would be on his ass?
So that, I think part of that is that, and again, if you hang out with me enough, you're gonna see my ass.
Well, I mean,
Come there.
because putting a map on a piece of paper is boring.
Yeah, that's boring. That's boring.
And if you look at the logo of the movie,
logo has the ass map on
it's
it.
the actual map
The
on
actual-
the A,
yeah.
showing the
On the
X
A?
marks the spot.
Yeah. Somebody has
So what it is though, it's like dude, the entire, I guess, right, like Billy did the first draft, and then over the next 3 months, me, him, and Melvor, like, we did the rewrite. And it's just, like, when you're sitting around with your friends and someone says something, and then they add on to that to make it better, and someone else adds on to that, and that's pretty much the entire way through with all the writing was that.
And then once we started shooting, all of us were coming up with ideas on the fly because we had to adapt so much scenes. Funny thing with the ass map. So the scene when you see like Wood and everybody like gathered behind. So most of the movie is just showing like my lower back, like not ass. But that part, I actually had ass out, like literally ass out. And we were there for a long fucking time.
I was never so happy not to be on the call sheet.
We were there for like a good, like I was just here with everybody right behind me for like at least an hour. At least a fucking
And
hour.
I need you guys to understand also that you're standing there like this before before I yell action, they're just standing there like this.
Yeah, so, are you gonna
We
say
are
what you're
literally
saying?
looking into Eric's ass.
Hold on. So, I do wrestling and stuff, so I'm into like the ribbing and doing gross shit. So I'm here and I'm trying to fart, and I just know, these guys are like, Eric, I see your bubble. So I can't fart, so then I was just moving my butthole like that. They're like, knock it off. Knock it off.
So there was what, me, you, Billy, Wood,
and then David, who
played
does
Pat.
not know us.
Right,
The
you
guy
don't know us like that.
That guy that played Pat in the movie didn't know us.
Like we're going, Eric, stop.
And he's a real legit actor with all of us. Everybody else has seen my ass before, but that was the first time. And he's just like,
thought of us staring into Eric's throbbing butthole.
And how many times have Wood slapped his ass? Like,
oh, dude, he was hitting it hard too. And there was so much like outtake, like different takes that didn't make it. Because I know at one point when I'm like, do you know how to read a map? And I look at you and I go, all right. And then he goes, oh, an ass map. There was like one like that.
I don't know. Yeah, but I just felt that it was so much funnier when he's like, sure, I can read a map, and then just hard cut to like, what the fuck am I looking at?
The other thing I like is when you're looking at it later and you're like, man, this map stinks. Like it's like so like it's there.
It's little stuff like that I find funny. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, talking about the ass hanging out. Did they actually draw on your ass?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
When he was drawing, it was my lower back. He didn't see my ass.
There was a point where I'm like, should we do an insert
Like a
shot?
pickup shot?
Like an insert shot of like a disgusting map on an ass?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I don't know. I toyed with that. I toyed with that idea for a while.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay, how much did you think it was gonna cost, and then how much did it actually cost?
Cost more than what we thought.
Yeah, okay, but like by how much, if, you know, and y'all have these other ideas, these new movies, what's your budget, are you doing crowdfunding, how are you?
Our budget was what we made from Kickstarter and then a revolving Indiegogo after that. So it's not, yeah, I sold a bunch of games to help fund it, but it's not like, oh, here's, it's like, this is what we had, period. Like, fuck us, this is the budget. So we couldn't go over budget because we had no fucking budget
This
to go over.
movie was
We had no
defined by budget. Speaking of which, this cheap motherfucker.
Who made it?
Yeah, this was 2 years later. We need an air mattress. Me and him go to the store to get an air mattress for a stunt. There's $100 sleeping bag. There's a $100 one. There's a $10 one. Which one do you think he got? When we blew it up,
I think everyone in here would get the $10 one though.
At least you had an air mattress.
He had just like blankets.
I'm just
but
glad
Billy
he did.
gets a $10.
I'm glad the mattress didn't pop when you fell on it.
He got a concussion. Billy got a concussion from falling on it.
No, legitimate. Like that was the mattress that he's talking about was the reshoots of basement. That whole basement scene was a complete reshoot a year later, and so that scene where I fall down, the first few takes, I fell down face first.
We heard his head.
Yeah, the air mattress in your
I'm
shit.
telling you, like when I first fell down on this, it's an air mattress. Air is soft.
No.
It'll be fine. No, it was like hitting a brick.
Billy gets up and he's like, what the? I literally went like, are you okay, Billy?
I fell forward and with no stopping myself with my hands, literally as I'm falling, boom. And it was so much of a concussion. Like I felt like somebody hit me with a brick.
Like honestly, I remember he DDT'd himself, dude. Like he fucking gave himself.
And then I did it twice.
What? That's what hit the turn.
Yeah, and at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm falling on my back. This is the one, and that's the one you see in the movie. Is like when I fall on my back, I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
We all did our own stunts. We had to jump on that fucking driveway with that stupid fucking base over and over and over.
That took 11 hours to break that base. It felt like it anyway.
So the back to the fire thing, man. That was an interesting experience because the guy that did the practical effects for that, his name is Leon. He came from the UK, did Game of Thrones, did stuff like that. He manufactured some pants with flame retardant material inside, and he was standing off. If you look at the doorway, he's like hidden in the corner, you can't see him, he's like on the other side. And he told me before, he goes, legitimately, he goes, do not fuck around. Because I wanted to, like, if you see the first Chucky when he's on fire, he's like, ah, like running. Like, I wanted to run and roll around like Curly, like on the fucking side, and shit like that.
Look, he don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he was like, if you do anything, I swear to God, I'm gonna be fucking mad. And I'm gonna, like, he was like, you better just drop to the knee and go forward. And I was like,
this is a motherfucker who has worked with like Natalie Portman and like actual actors, and he's over here saying like, I'm gonna pause the scene if you do.
Yeah, he was like,
do exactly what I'm telling you you're gonna do.
He was like, fuck. He was like, no fucking shit going on.
Yeah, like he took his job seriously and was really good at it too. So
and even with the flame retardant stuff, man, you could feel that like the hot, like the heat, and I was like, holy fuck. And it was kind of cool though. It was a fun experience.
I was like, do we make his guys explode? I really wanted. I really wanted to like actually have pyrotechnics and his ass just.
That'd be great, man. We could have got like some black cats or something, like in hindsight.
Scott, the producer, he got on fire before you did. Remember?
Yeah, he was the test.
Yeah, he tested the pants before he actually put them on. So we didn't have. There was no budget for stunt people. So, yes.
Well, there was, but they came out on the day we could do the stunts because of the rain out.
And
so we literally paid them for nothing.
Yeah. Yes.
So some of the NES games that were showing both in the garage and the basement, whose collections were they from?
Billy's. They were all his.
Yeah, actually a lot of those, if you watch the episode where we found a bunch of the Sega Genesis cards, or excuse me, just like the empty boxes on the wall. Was it?
That was early. Movie Trading Cards?
Movie Trading Company. There's an episode where we find all the games from that. Those have been in my garage forever. And yeah, we just used those. Like we took them out and yeah, they just regular games.
Next question. Yes.
Yeah, is there any home media release? Is there any cool special features on there?
Tons of special features. That's why the Blu-ray is not out yet, because there's what, a documentary?
We're coming shit.
An hour, probably about an hour and a half documentary, and then a bunch of literally a bunch of. The second disc is gonna be full of it. Well, actually, I brought the camera here. We got interviews with people here in this con, so.
And there's two versions of the Blu-ray that are on the Indiegogo right now. If you want the special features, you want the 2 discs.
Bonus.
Which you can still pre-order. You won't get a digital copy of the film, but you will get those 2 discs. So if you're a super movie nerd like us, that's the one you want. Trust me.
And that'll have all the bloopers and stuff? Oh, yeah.
Which, to be honest, there really wasn't that many bloopers. Because we didn't have time to fuck ups.
There is deleted scenes though.
Yeah.
A lot of deleted scenes. Because, the very last scene that we shot in the movie, literally the very best, the principal photography, you never actually used in the movie.
Oh, on the trailer.
Oh,
on the
trailer, yeah. And then some of the stuff that, shout out to Pixel Dan, any of that was deleted out too.
Oh, yeah, what did you think?
Did y'all see Dan's cameo, the King of the Galaxy?
Did y'all realize that was Dan?
Yeah. That was originally in the movie, but in editing, sometimes you look at something and you're like, this fucks with the flow.
Wasn't this supposed to be when you're driving?
Yeah, I was gonna have that dream.
And you saw that portal and the thing popped up. The dream was actually going to be him saving the galaxy from.
And then the gnomes come up.
And then the gnomes come up, and then it's just the editing process. You're looking at it, it's it just drags on too long. You had to cut that out. But it was so good. All I was like, man, I need to put a post-credit scene somewhere, during the credits.
That was the first unofficial thing we shot. That was at Retropalooza 2019.
2019.
And I do appreciate the clapping y'all did when you got that medal. I was like, oh.
Next question.
I was going to ask about the editing part. There was a funny part where you popped in next to him and you had short hair. Was it like you just pulled it in or you actually had short hair?
I got COVID in last December, and at one point it literally felt like my hair was growing into my brain, so I fucking shaved it.
You were like Pedro and Napoleon Dynamite?
Basically, I was Pedro and Napoleon.
Well, that dream sequence was something we just didn't have the budget for in principle.
And then again, when we filmed that, it was literally 2 weeks before the premiere, which would have been in January? January.
It was in January, yeah. Well, there were certain things that we only had the budget to shoot what we had in principal photography in November for 3 weeks. And then after that, it's there are just certain things in the script we're just going to have to get later. That was one of them. Yeah. And it just so happened that it was well, fuck, we need to get this.
We knew we were doing the dream sequence, so we wrote basically the script, if you will, right then. And I was like, yo, let's just fucking point this out and make fun of it. Because now my hair's not long anymore. So that's what we did.
You okay, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The movie felt so high quality, the special effects, they were amazing. How much of the budget went into the special effects?
We paid the special effects guy in a virtual boy.
Games. Luckily, the virtual, luckily he played a lot of games.
I had 14 of 16 virtual boy games, so I actually gave him just this past February. He was looking for one. I'm like, here you go, because what you did for us should have cost us fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The guy that did the special, he works for, what was it?
He's done stuff on Walking Dead, Star Wars,
Mandalorian, Hawkeye.
Yoshi? Yeah,
Yoshi.
So he's
getting him and David.
But Billy, you taught yourself a lot too with King in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of the.
We really weren't driving in front of fucking mountains.
The whole space battle, that was them. That was David. I can't do that shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of budget, a lot of people did a lot of things for us for nothing. And Yoshi's been one of those guys. And Leon, the special effects guy, he flew himself out from the UK, paid for his own hotel, just to be able to help us out because he wanted to help.
In all
This guy back
actuality,
here quit his fucking job.
In all
to help us on
actuality,
the
this movie probably should have cost like well over like $250,000.
Probably more.
Yeah.
And Rudy, for whatever fucking reason, he got the script and was like, I want to make this movie. And he started calling all the people he knew in DFW and was like, hey, I'm on this project, here's what I'm going to pay you. Not, will you take, it's, I'm paying you this. And they were like, okay. So, a lot of that is fucking the credit to Rudy, actually.
Yeah, he got a lot of bro prices.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just what you gotta do. Because you gotta understand also, it's like, you know, what we did with the movie, we didn't, there are other people that do Kickstarters, they're like, hey, here, pay for the movie to be made, and then, you know, when it's out, you're gonna have to buy it again. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to buy a digital download, you're gonna have to buy a Blu-ray. We sit up front, it's like, if you want to pre-order this movie, it's a pre-order. If you want to put into this movie, it's a pre-order. So it's like all those literally tens of thousands of dollars of like manufacturing of Blu-rays, shipping of Blu-rays, all this stuff, shirts, all that stuff. You know, that factors into the budget that we had that we got to put into this thing. So it's always like an albatross around us. There's like we can't go all out. We have to save a little bit of this back on the back end, or else we're not going to be able to deliver the rewards.
Right.
And that's just something we wanted to do because I think we just didn't want to do the whole thing where it's like, hey, just pay us up front and then also you just gave us money to make the movie. Now you gotta buy a copy.
You know, somebody's joke was taken literally when he said, "Oh, you bought it again, buy it twice."
Yeah.
Motherfucker's not even being serious on that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't know. A lot of times people take that into consideration too. It's like especially the way shipping is gone up and manufacturing is going up and everything is going up now.
Yeah. So like talking about budget, everybody had to get paid. Like Eric said, 20, 25 people on set every single day. Every single one of the people had to get paid for every day they were there. Actors, actual actors, they had to get paid for every day they were there. The camera, we rented a $100,000 camera. We got it fucking cheap. I think we only wound up paying like $3,000 or $4,000 for this camera for 3 weeks. Fucking catering alone was $17,000. So like it's a lot of fucking money to make.
And trust me, that was something we were trying to cheap out on too. We were like,
and I did, and I never will again.
We were like, can we just like grill hamburgers or go to McDonald's or something? But that's one thing that like actual movie people, they will fucking on you. If you don't provide like good food for them, they will quit. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we don't.
You gotta factor in. You gotta factor in the like the vegans that are in the crew.
Yeah,
and
all that stuff.
Dietary restrictions.
Like so,
like us, we're fucking choked.
If you count like actual actors and crew members, it's probably 25 to 30 people on set at any given point.
And you gotta feed every single motherfucker twice a day.
If it was us, we'd be eating Taco Bell every day. But it's like, we have movie people, like sound people and all that coming up from Austin. We got to pay for their hotels, their meals, all that stuff. And it's like, you know, they will turn on you. They will riot on you if you don't feed them good. That is like just the biggest sin in the movie world. It's like if you do not feed people good, they will. If you feed them good and you have a good attitude, they will go down with you on the Titanic. Right. They have your back all the way. Don't do those things.
I learned this catering thing like kind of the hard way, and I wasn't trying to be cheap. I was just trying to save some money because initially I think it was something like $24,000 or something, and I'm like, yo, we gotta cut some fucking money somewhere. Like, where can we do this? And they wound up finding someone who said they'd do it for 17. No fucking experience doing a movie. And I think they told Rudy and Larissa they had experience and they fucking did not. And I was just like, okay, I learned that the hard way, like, can't do that again.
Beautiful thing is though, we got the first one out of the way, right? So now, everything was a learning process.
Oh yeah, let's make nothing.
And the beautiful thing about that is he made the sentimental like ambitious good one. Now we can make a fucking movie like Ash Map, the movie. Like,
You know what I would love? I would love to be able to be like, let's hire no vegans, so that way we can like just grill hot dogs every day.
Matter of fact,
use the money saved to actually put towards the movie.
The U-Haul that we basically kept everything in for 3 weeks cost us $1,800. So it's a bunch of shit like that that fucking adds up.
It's a bunch of little shit that adds up fucking quick.
Very
like shit toward like if, you know, we shot out like in the in the woods and stuff. It's like you have to have a little mobile unit with like the internet and all this other printers and just so much of this little shit.
You gotta rent the light.
Like walkie-talkies and like
rent a generator.
Rent generator to run the lights. It's like it just once everything adds up, it's like thousands of dollars.
Hand warmers.
Yeah, get hand warmers.
How many hand warmers did you buy? Oh
and how many did you fucking use?
Come on, Joey Hot Hands.
Joey.
Fucking this dude over here. Fucking ooh, I'm cold. I'm cold.
I think
that's the only time I've ever heard you say you're cold,
bro.
I think we spent, God, it was well over $100 for like those 2 days that we really needed the hand warmers.
It was cold.
That's just ridiculous to fucking think about that you'd spend that much fucking money on fucking hand warmers. But you had to have them.
Yeah, because one day it just mysteriously decided to drop 10 or 15 fucking degrees.
They dropped like 30 degrees.
I mean, just going out and buying just going to like fucking Ross and buying like long underwear to put underneath your jeans because it's literally like in the 30s and you're shooting all night long.
Yeah.
So
well, shit, even getting our jeans that we're fucking wearing.
Yes. And you gotta buy multiple in case something fucks up. You tear them or you fucking fall in mud and you gotta change. So like all the shirts you see us wearing, we had 5 of.
Yeah.
And to save money on that, those were fucking handmade.
Yeah.
Like we made those at home.
His shirt said Spangler High. It was Ron Spangler, by the way. Ghostbusters.
Like that was fucking vinyl, like printed it out and fucking heat pressed it.
And me and Chief just made it easy. We're like, we're just gonna wear one color fucking shirt. We had 5. We weren't wearing like the same one every day. Just fucking know. 5.
Jeans. I was like, man, I ain't spending fucking $40 on fucking 5 pairs of jeans. And I'm not gonna
I go to
fucking
Marshalls
wear
or
it.
Ross and find the $20 pair. So I
have so much to worry about, and I was like, we need to color coordinate the characters here, and I'm like, Eric needs to wear something yellow because he's the scared guy.
That's because you don't respect him.
Running joke.
Hey, he's the one that does it. He sat with me and me and Chief slept on Jay's couch, right?
2 weeks.
Together?
He has this fucking little Disney princess pink chair, like one of those tiny little ones that you put the kids at to eat. And he'd be getting all tucked in. He had his little routine. He'd play like 30 minutes of Pokemon Shield and Sword, and then he'd be like, "Okay, we got it, bro." And then we'd be tucked in, lights off, everything. Then I hear his little snort, his old man snort. Then I see his stupid fucking curly fucking ponytail in the dark silhouette. Then I hear the chair fucking open. Then he sits there, and then I hear a fucking Bud Light open, and he's just like literally, I'm right here, like this fucking close, laying on his couch.
Just talking. I'm just fucking talking.
He's like, one night he just goes, you know why Billy makes you wear yellow, right?
I was intentionally trying to start shit.
I was asleep, and when he said that, I woke up to hear what he had to say.
He goes, you know why Billy makes you wear yellow, right? And I'm like, fuck, man. Fuck, dude. He goes, it's because he doesn't fucking respect you. And I'm like, okay, dude, I don't give a fuck.
I was like, because yellow is cowardly.
Okay, so no matter what time if we started at 5 p.m., we got home at 5 a.m. If we started at 5 a.m., we got at 5 p.m. This is one of those get home at 5 p.m. So we literally just have enough time to get something to go, to like eat, eat it, go over to script for an hour, and then we were in bed by like 8.
Yeah,
right?
it was fucking crazy.
That night was like 11 o'clock.
Had to be up at like 3.
And he started to do this almost nightly. Like, come with a little pink chair. So then one day, me and Chief were like,
we hit that shit.
I'm like, I'm hiding that fucking chair.
Bitch found under dirt, and we put it under dirty laundry.
Yeah, we put it
that
under
he
laundry
would
that's been there, so we think he's not gonna look. And he's sure again, little silhouette with the fucking little buddy foo-foo coming in, and he goes, oh, interesting. He's all shot and he goes, oh, here it is. Puts the chair, backs up with a fucking beer. And then it was to the point where I was like, you know what, dude, I'm not gonna sleep. Give me a fucking beer too.
Oh, you're welcome. You hate that fucking chair, don't you?
I hate that fucking chair. I hate that. He brings it out, the little pink chair.
It's like, they came with like that little table, you know,
Yeah, I
like,
know exactly what you guys
like
see.
little kids, Disney princess, like, yeah, it's one of those.
It's either fucking Cinderella and Snow White, or it's Minnie Mouse and fucking Daisy Duck.
This was Disney princess.
Yeah.
It's the perfect sitting chair. Like you sit and, you know, drink
But
a Bud
it
Light.
wasn't so much, he was able to literally like, my face is like right here. And he's just like,
I can get down to face level with her.
with just his boxers on, by the way. And then, so he starts off with the hair, he does this fucking bullshit when he starts getting buzzed. He starts thinking he's cute. So he's sitting there, right, and then he does this, and then he's like, and his hair's all like fucking huge, and he's all like,
looking like Moana and
and
shit.
he's all like this, Kelly, you know why Billy makes you wear yellow, right? So he don't fucking respect you, dude. He doesn't fucking respect you, man. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It was good times, though.
I said it so much that I actually brainwashed Eric into believing that.
No, it's a running bit. I go along with it. I understood that you needed me to wear the yellow.
Look, I was excited to have you guys there with the fucking slumber part. I live alone. And-
Sorry, go on.
no, I was saying I live alone and I don't usually have like people over, so I thought it was fun.
It was like a little slumber party.
Yeah,
So I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys caught, the guy called me a Twinkie because I'm wearing a yellow shirt. That caught me off guard. That was ad-lib.
Yeah, he ad-libbed that.
A lot of the movie was that.
A lot of it.
A lot.
Next question.
I think it was because it all changed when Billy said, my script is more of a guideline. So however you want to interpret my lines, do it. If that's how you feel like you would say it, do it. And then the movie opened up. We were erasing his fucking lines as soon as we got home. We're like, all right, this is how we
fuck this.
You know what? Hang on. Again, though, the script was written for a very dorky white dude. Like he was supposed to be the brains, if you will, right? And he had to back out. So when Chief gets the script, he's like, "Bro, I don't talk like this, bro."
This is for nerdy white guys, bro.
This is written for a
My
nerdy white
cousin's
guy.
name was like Mark or something.
Charlie.
There was Charlie.
Yeah,
no,
so
I was Charlie. My name, they were Charlie.
So me and Eric came up with the term. We're like, dude, chief it up. Like, how would you say this? You don't have to read the line all, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Like, fucking chief it up. So
3 words to describe Chief in this role. It has tubes.
Has tubes.
He's fucking like Luz Guzman, dude, when he gets all excited and yells.
Oh damn!
That part where it said, I distinctly remember thinking, like we read the script for that part, for that scene, for the unveiling of the car. My only line for that entire scene was, "It has tubes." That was my line.
Yeah.
I was supposed to say, "It has tubes," and then I think we did that one take where it said, and we're like, "This doesn't work. You got just chief it up." He said, and then like he said action, and then I literally just ad-libbed everything you saw, and it was like in one take. I did it in one take.
Custom faded paint job.
It was a learning experience. You know what it is to just come up with 30 people are looking at you, and they're all looking at the monitor, and they're trying to not make noise, because once you make noise, you fuck up the whole shot.
Right.
And when I ad-libbed that part, I just looked over, and they were all just, like, they were silently laughing, but that I knew, that was like a justification that scene worked.
There were lots of times where, you know, crew or something had to walk away from what we were doing just so they wouldn't laugh and fuck the take up. So.
In fact, from the very first take. So that very first take where everyone's talking about, you know, Billy's looking at the monitor, okay, pick the sandwich with all this stuff. Rob, who's back there, script supervisor, is hiding back there, waving, telling everyone hi. This is the first time I'm like working with this guy. I just met him a couple days prior, and this is how our bonding moment was. It's us watching the monitor over Billy's shoulder and seeing what's going on. Trying not to laugh.
There's a lot of that.
And because when that sounds went in, just
I'll give Billy credit, man, on like the improv and stuff like that. You know, this saying like you do it once as written and then put yourself into it. One thing Billy never wanted to change was the story, and I was with him on that. I like this fucking story that we're trying to tell here. Everything else, it was like, change it up if you need to. You don't have to say it word for word. It's extremely like flexible with that.
Yeah, the movie opened up and we became flexible.
After, and like I said, I wish we could redo like at least the first 2 days for sure. But after like day 3, day 4, we kind of settled into our characters, even though they were us. You know, it's a little exaggerated, and we just all got more comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and I got to be honest, we know Chad Tronic, but we're not really good friends with him like we are with Chief.
Yeah.
So to have all the 4 of us actual friends, it made it easier. It made it way easier. Next question.
It's basically all of y'all have a chemistry that feeds, because you all know each other.
Right.
It just works out so well.
Well, we had an actor that was, once Chad Tronic dropped out, we held auditions, and somebody auditioned for Chief's part, and he was great. He was a really great actor, and we were going to roll with it.
He was doing readings with us.
He was doing readings, we were doing rehearsals, all this stuff leading up to shooting, and then there was a little bit of a scheduling conflict, and it gave me the opportunity to be like, to second guess things. I guess, because we were going to roll with it. But once he kind of had that schedule conflict happen, it gave me the opportunity to be like, is this like a sign? Is this something I should like take in and be like, should we second guess things? Should chemistry be more important than an actual like legitimate actor? And then we were at Retropalooza, and I had Chief read the scripts.
Yeah.
And
when you called me over, you were like, dude, check it out.
Literally like when the con was over,
Yeah.
I called him over, and then it was still like, hey, I'm not sure, blah, 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 I can't take time off. You were telling us be hard, because you would have to get somebody to cover for you. And I remember we were at your house, and we're like, fuck, man, it's like days before, we're like, shit, that role. At one point, we were even thinking of just eliminating that role.
Yeah,
right?
at one point I was like, Billy, like we got to get rid of this character, we got to get rid of this role, like it can only be the 3 of us. And he's like, no, it has to be 4, it won't work if it's not like a foursome.
And then I remember, Billy called you.
Mark that.
Because there were some intense phone calls for a little bit too,
Yeah.
between us having meetings where people told us we don't have money and make us feel like we're shit, and not finding locations, not finding roles. And I remember Billy called you and you were standing, I remember you were standing like where I could see you from your sink. And you're like, hey, you got off the phone and he goes, hey, Chief's in. And I just fucking lit up. That was the best fucking news I heard in my life, dude. That was like, I remember he was like,
Well,
Chief's
because
in.
there's something to be said about chemistry, and I knew that like, look, none of us are professional actors. We're not actors. But I knew that like the what's the old saying? When you add up the sum of all, it's greater than the sum of all the parts. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I knew that like the chemistry of everything would be much greater than to just have like 3 random people, like 3, us 3, and then like for some random person.
Like looking back, it would have been weird. I think it would have been really weird because we are all actual really good friends, and it just. I
No
don't know.
disrespect to anybody else, but fuck them. No disrespect.
Oh, I mean the guy at the end of the nerd battle who said, "Did you see that car?
It has
tubes." That's the guy we're talking about.
That's the guy?
Yeah.
That was gonna be the guy that was gonna be you.
Shit.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
But afterwards, I was like, well, this dude actually came out and read with us. He was a good sport about everything. He took the news of like, oh, you don't get the part. He took it well. So I was like, well, we need to throw him in something. So
Yeah, no, he was actually really good. Like when he auditioned, like, yeah, this is the dude.
I was going to say that you guys working together, because your acting is so unique that y'all play off of each other, right? Because his character is very kind of more scared, and yours is so courageous. Like, let's do this,
And I didn't know what
and
was
you two,
leading
both
to.
you guys, you're kind of like so aggressive.
leads back to exactly what you were saying, where he was like in this room and the character, and I knew that like the dynamic was like me and him were like polar up, like parts, you know, the positive and negative of the magnet, but then like, but if it was just like him as like a third wheel, like he needs somebody to like have somebody to bounce off of.
Yeah, because you learn about
Yeah. So I was like, and that's why I was like, now we need that for it.
Yeah, that's really good. But the story though, which I just want to say that it was very moving. The musical score was.
Martin got emotional at the end. Because I cried the first time during the preview. When I saw the flashback, like when you go out and it's the Star Wars ending, and he's looking up at the sky, and then like when you're having a flashback.
It's funny when you say Star Wars, because that was originally in the script. We were supposed to have like a bonfire, like walk. It's gonna be like
I remember that. I remember you said one of the guys is like hitting.
Yeah, like one of the guys is hitting like helmets of like I don't know.
Yeah, I remember.
Like biker helmets or something.
But no.
Sorry, that's supposed to be a biker gang. The Army of Thugs is supposed to be a biker gang, and we were like, who do we know with a motorcycle? Nobody. They're like, okay, can we like call Hell's Angels and ask if they want to see it?
Well, that's the whole thing of what the original script was going to be. Like the original that first like and this all comes to the budget. We didn't have the budget for it, but the space fight in the beginning where we go off on like fighter jets or fighter spaceships, whatever the hell. That was supposed to be paralleled at the end where we're going to go on motorbikes and like chase down the NES and like do stunts where we jumped off the motorbike into the back of the pickup and the pickup was going to.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we had all these fucking stunts that we could have actually fucking died doing.
Yeah, and then it was like, yeah, you don't have $500,000 to shoot that, so that can't happen.
And at one point, you see the planes that are flying over on that flashback when young Gordon goes, one day I'll get my revenge. Those planes kept flying. It was an air show or something stupid going on. And Billy's like pissed and he's like, what the fuck can we do about this? And the AD was like, well, I mean, we could, give him $1 million to not fly for the day. Like, okay, we can do that.
You just gotta make limits from lemonade, or excuse me, sorry, lemonade from lemons.
You gotta make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah, chicken salad out of chicken shit.
But I actually took sounds of because that whole sequence you were gonna hear airplanes through the entire thing. You could not hear airplanes. So it's like, where are these airplanes coming from? So like it's actually Peter's idea. He's like, I'll get a shot of the airplanes. I'm like, fucking get a shot of the airplanes. And so he gets a shot of the airplanes, and it ended up being like the perfect transition. But if you don't see those airplanes and then you hear the airplanes, it's like, what's that weird fucking noise?
Well, fucking the haunted house, we're hearing a fucking train like all fucking night too. Were you about to
Dude, one
night
we lost 45 minutes one night because this train wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Were you about to go film the train?
The haunted house is actually a set built in a gym. So like
not the haunted house.
The haunted house.
Not the haunted house.
No,
so
the
carnival.
Oh, the carnival's what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about
the haunted house.
You're right. I mean, like when it was dark and the clown jumps out, like all that was a set built in a gym.
Like even the electric chair was custom built.
So the house, like the scary house, I'm allergic as fuck to cats. And that place was covered in cat fucking hair.
Same.
Like, I saw those little fucking bastard cats.
Also, it had an actual real creepy doll room.
Oh yeah, there was like a room with like a little fucking hidden covered like the yellow wallpaper.
Yeah, that was weird.
If y'all ever read yellow wallpaper, it was like that. But the only time I could breathe was when I was down on that floor with the fire, because the floor's wood, completely clean, and it was nice and cold. I was like, fuck, thank God, I couldn't breathe at all. Fuck cats.
Yeah, good. Fuck cats.
Fuck cats.
Fucking dog people.
Fuck dogs.
Oh yeah, you don't like fucking dogs.
I like animals. Any more questions?
Good.
Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Billy.
Happy birthday.